The Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 are about to get absolutely stacked with new releases, from Souls-like remakes to brand new JRPGs and legendary comebacks. I dug through every announcement to bring you the upcoming games you need on your radar. Fire Emblem: Fortune's Weave, releasing September 17th, 2026, exclusively on Switch 2. This one's set in the same world and timeline as Three Houses, so if you love Fodlan, you're gonna feel right at home here. The story centers on the Heroic Games, a huge tournament held in the Dagdan Empire where the winner gets one wish granted. You pick one of 4 leads to follow, each with their own personal reason for fighting and their own combat style. Between battles, you're not just grinding, you're training your troops, recruiting new allies, and heading out into the world to explore dungeons and fight enemies for resources. Combat sticks to the classic turn-based tactics the series is known for, but there's a new certification system for classes and special HP cost abilities called Blaze Arts that let you turn a losing fight around. Tales of Eternia, landing October 16th, 2026 on both Switch and Switch 2. This is a full remaster of a beloved 2000 RPG, so it's a great pickup for anyone who missed it the first time or wants to replay it looking way better. You follow Reed Herschel and his childhood friend Farah after they run into a mysterious girl who speaks a language nobody understands. That encounter kicks off a journey across 2 worlds, Inferia and Celestia, that are on a slow collision course with each other. Combat is real-time and fast, with your party fighting together on a 2D plane while you juggle physical attacks and elemental spells. The remaster adds quality-of-life stuff, like the option to turn off random encounters, a speed-up mode for grinding, and the choice to swap between old-school and updated visuals whenever you want. It's a comfy, classic RPG experience with modern conveniences. Dragon's Dogma 2: Dark Arisen, arriving October 9th, 2026 on Switch 2, bundling the full base game with a new expansion. You create your own Arisen and head out into a massive open world with a squad of pawns, otherworldly companions who fight alongside you and actually learn from how you play. Combat is physical and creative. You can climb onto giant monsters, use the environment against enemies, and mix vocations to build your own playstyle. The new Dark Arisen content adds a frosty region called Norgon, packed with fresh quests, plus the return of the Relic Expedition cycle from the original Dark Arisen expansion years back. What makes the pawn system fun is that you can borrow other players' pawns online, and they'll bring knowledge from their own adventures to help you out. It's a huge, weird, and genuinely unique action RPG, finally landing on a Nintendo console for the first time. Final Fantasy Resonance, coming October 22nd, 2026, to both Switch and Switch 2. This is the first Final Fantasy game built entirely around the HD 2D style, mixing detailed pixel art characters with modern lighting and camera work. The story follows a knight named Rain, his adoptive brother Laswell, and a mysterious girl named Fina as they get pulled into a conflict tied to the world's elemental crystals. Combat is turn-based and strategic, built from scratch for this game rather than copied from anything else, so even fans of the source material will run into new surprises. Square Enix has said this imagines what Final Fantasy might have looked like if it never fully left pixel art behind, and honestly, the trailers back that up. If you're a fan of turn-based combat and gorgeous pixel worlds, this is shaping up to be a cozy, nostalgic pick with real substance behind it. Spyro: A Realm Beyond, set for spring 2027 on Switch 2 along with other platforms. This marks Spyro's first brand new adventure in around 2 decades, made by Toys for Bob, the same studio behind the Reignited Trilogy remaster. Spyro gets stranded in an unfamiliar realm and has to find a way home, while a hostile invading force called the Scavs threatens everything around him. The biggest gameplay change here is true free-roaming flight, letting you soar through the sky instead of just gliding in short bursts like older games. On the ground, you're still doing that classic Spyro thing, charging, breathing fire, gliding between platforms, and exploring big, colorful worlds packed with secrets. The developers have talked about wanting Spyro to feel fluid and connected to his environment, both in the air and on land. So this could be the biggest evolution the series has ever had. Lies of P Complete Edition, digitally available August 6th, 2026 on Switch 2, with a physical release following October 2nd. This is a Souls-like set in a dark, twisted version of the Pinocchio story, where you play as a puppet named P, navigating a city falling apart around him. The Complete Edition bundles in the Overture expansion, so you're getting the entire story from start to finish in one package. Combat is brutal and precise, built around parrying and managing your stamina while facing some genuinely creative and terrifying bosses. There's also a weapon assembly system, letting you mix and match blades and handles to build your own custom weapons. Switch 2 owners get a day 1 patch aiming for a smooth 60 frames per second experience too. If you've been wanting a proper Souls-like on a Nintendo console, this dark fairy tale delivers a full, polished experience. Final Fantasy VII Revelation, launching spring 2027, simultaneously on Switch 2 and every other major platform. This closes out the 3-part Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, picking up right where the story left off, with Cloud and the party racing against time before disaster strikes the planet. One of the biggest changes here is scale. The entire world map becomes freely explorable this time, letting you travel anywhere using the airship Highwind instead of following a straight line. Combat brings in a job system, so characters can take on different combat roles beyond what you'd expect from their usual style, giving you way more freedom to build your party. The developers have said the goal is to bring every version of the story to one single definitive ending. For longtime fans, this is the big one, the finale everyone's been waiting years for. The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered, coming August 11th, 2026, to Switch 2 with both digital and physical versions available. This brings Bethesda's classic open-world RPG to a Nintendo console with updated visuals and refined gameplay, while keeping everything that made the original special intact. You create your character and are free to just go wherever the world takes you, joining guilds, taking on quests, or diving into the arena to fight for glory. The remaster includes both major story expansions, Shivering Isles, and Knights of the Nine, so you're getting the complete experience in one box. On Switch 2 specifically, there's added support for motion controls that let you aim and interact more directly using the Joy-Con. If you never played the original or just want to revisit Cyrodiil with better graphics, this is a genuinely massive open world to lose yourself in. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis, set to release February 12th, 2027 on Switch 2 alongside other platforms, launching day and date everywhere. This is a full reimagining of the original 1996 Tomb Raider, following Lara Croft as she explores exotic, dangerous locations while hunting for pieces of an ancient artifact called the Scion. You'll be climbing, jumping, and solving environmental puzzles across jungles, ruins, deserts, and a mysterious island, all rebuilt with modern visuals using Unreal Engine 5. The developers have said the story has been expanded with deeper connections tying Lara's first adventure into her future journeys, so even players who know the original might find new context here. Amazon Games has promised the Switch 2 version runs with the same cinematic scale and fluid gameplay as other platforms. Stellar Blade, confirmed for a 2026 release on Switch 2, though an exact date hasn't dropped yet. You play as Eve, a warrior sent to Earth to reclaim it from a hostile force called the Naytiba that's overrun the planet. This is a stylish action game built around tight, responsive combat, dodging and parrying enemy attacks before punishing them with combo strings and special abilities. As you progress, you'll unlock new skills, gear, and combat builds, letting you shape Eve's fighting style to match how you like to play. The Switch 2 version adds support for Joy-Con motion controls during certain activities outside of combat, giving it a little extra flavor compared to other platforms. Between the intense boss fights and the cinematic way the story unfolds, this has been one of the most talked about action games of the last couple years, and now it's finally coming to a Nintendo console. Pokémon Winds and Waves, launching exclusively on Switch to sometime in 2027 as the next generation of mainline Pokémon games. This time, the adventure takes place across a chain of windswept islands surrounded by a huge, open ocean with distinct ecosystems shaped by the environment around them. You'll pick one of 3 new starter Pokémon, a grass-type bird, a fire-type dog, and a water-type gecko, before heading out to explore the region. Underwater exploration looks like a bigger focus than ever, alongside jungles, swamps, lava caves, and even a futuristic resort area shown in early footage. As always, you'll be teaming up with Pokémon to handle both trainer battles and the natural obstacles this ocean-heavy world throws at you. With Game Freak building this fully around Switch 2 hardware, expect the open world here to be more detailed and alive than anything the series has done before. Dragon Quest Monsters: The Withered World, releasing December 3rd, 2026 on both Switch and Switch 2. This is the newest entry in the monster taming spin-off series, following young versions of Bianca and Nira from Dragon Quest V as they search for a cure for their sick fathers. Their journey takes them to a kingdom called Witherwood, where the medicine they need has been devastated by some unknown force. Gameplay revolves around recruiting and raising monsters instead of fighting directly yourself, building a team through breeding and scouting to take on stronger threats as you explore. This entry also introduces monsters that follow you around in the field for the first time in a 3D game. Plus, the personality system returns to shape how your monsters behave in battle. You can play solo or jump into online co-op and versus modes with friends. Metaphor, ReFantazio, coming to Switch 2 on November 12, 2026, at a lower price than other platforms. Made by the team behind Persona, this fantasy RPG is set in the kingdom of Eternia, made up of tribes who don't always get along, especially after the king is assassinated and chaos spreads. You take on quests, build relationships with your party, and explore a world dealing with real tension while chasing the truth behind the king's death. Combat uses an archetype system, basically classes you can switch between mid-battle, letting you build different playstyles as you unlock more of them. The game blends dungeon crawling with social sim elements, splitting your days between combat, conversations, and choices that shape your bonds with the cast. This already won major awards for its story and art direction. And now, Switch 2 owners finally get to see why everyone was talking about it. Rayman Legends Retold, launching October 1st, 2026 on Switch 2, bundled with Rayman Origins Enhanced Edition. This is a full rebuild of the beloved 2013 platformer, taking the side-scrolling action players loved and rendering it in brand new 3D visuals instead of the original hand-drawn style. You'll run, glide, and punch your way through the Glade of Dreams alongside Rayman, Globox, Barbara, and the rest of the crew, now facing a brand new villain and story on top of the classic levels. A never-before-seen sixth realm has been added exclusively for this version, giving longtime fans fresh content along with everything they already loved. It supports couch co-op for up to 4 players, so the chaotic platforming challenges hit even harder with friends. Xenoblade Genesis, launching exclusively on Switch to sometime in 2027, marking a true new beginning for the Xenoblade series. You play as Eleanor, training to become a Veseli, a warrior who wields a mysterious force called anima that flows through the entire world. Early looks show a massive open world with a fantasy feel, elf-like characters, and creature mounts you can ride across the landscape. Part of the story follows Eleanor's training at an academy, learning to use a special tool called a Crystone that amplifies a Veseli's power and even records pieces of their life within it. Monolith Soft has called this a genuine, fresh start for the franchise, rather than a direct continuation of past storylines, which means new players can jump in without needing any of the previous games. And that's the list! Switch and Switch 2 are about to be stacked for the next year. So which one are you most hyped for? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss more coverage as release dates get closer. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.